Salwete! Welcome to my first mini unit video to get you through these lesson signs. Today we're going to be talking about words related to pasta, and if you have any questions, please feel free to email me, and I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can. Here we go. Looking at yesterday's poll, looks like a lot of people wanted to hear more about food, and so that's our topic for today. And it looks like everyone's doing okay with these mini units, and so I'll keep the format as they are. Today's objectives is to learn about Latin words related to pasta and learn about where the Latin word pasta comes from. So the word pasta itself comes from Latin, and we also associate pasta with Italian food, which you might be curious about since Latin is the language of the Romans, and so we'll talk about that today. You actually might have a lot of pasta stocked up right now because it's cheap, it lasts a long time, and it's filling, and it's also really easy to make. I have a picture here of one of my favorite pasta dishes, which is spaghetti with garlic and olive oil. It's really easy. You chop up some garlic, you toss it in some olive oil, maybe a little bit of Parmesan and some pepper. It's delicious. You should try it out. Did the Romans have pasta? No, not quite. We know that they had something called lagana, which was rolled out unleavened dough made without yeast, unlike bread. And the word lasagna actually comes from this. However, most food historians don't think those two are related. You might have heard the myth that Marco Polo brought pasta back because it was basically Chinese noodles that he introduced to the Italians. However, this has been dismissed as a marketing stunt. What is true, though, is that around the 13th and 14th centuries, there was a lot of trade around the Mediterranean, and that's when different kinds of pasta became really popular. So it's probably around that time that it started. Pasta is a Latin word that comes from Greek, meaning barley porridge, and it comes from the Greek verb pasein, to sprinkle. And this is probably because salt or grains were sprinkled on the barley mixture. And so pasta is some sort of paste that was dried and then became noodles. You can actually make pasta, fresh pasta, at home with just flour, eggs, and salt. And it takes about 25 minutes to knead up all the gluten on your own. It's different from store-bought pasta, which is that it actually tastes better, but it's also because it comes from a different wheat flour. Store-bought pasta is made from durum flour, as you'll see on the boxes and packaging, whereas fresh pasta, you just use the flour they use to make bread and other things. Here are some other words related to pasta, such as paste, pastries, pastel colors, because they're made from pigment paste, and a pastiche. A pastiche is a medley of different artistic styles from the Italian pasticcio, which is a specific kind of medley or pastry cake. You can actually use the word pastiche not just for food, but for any kind of artistic medley. You can think of it as like a hodgepodge of different things. Here are also the etymologies of other different kinds of pasta. Etymology is the study of looking at where the words come from. Spaghetti comes from Italian spago, which means rope, and the Latin spagus, which means twine. Twine is basically like when you put threads and you twist them together. Lasagna, as we talked about earlier, comes from lasagnium, which is a cooking pot, so maybe that's where the paste was made. That made the pasta. Linguini is a diminutive form of lingua, tongue. I guess it's because they're flat pasta that looks like tongues. I don't know. Penne comes from an Italian form of Latin penna, which means feather. And so you can see, right, the way that they're cut, I guess, suggests that they might look feather-like. And tortellini comes from Latin torta, twisted, as the dough was twisted to make sure the fillings didn't come out. So yeah, let's reflect on some learning. Do we know where pasta came from? Where did the word pasta come from? And what are some words related to pasta? Thanks for completing the lesson. Make sure to answer the questions in the Google form, and also the survey questions at the end help me make sure that you guys are getting the content that you want. Alrighty, Walete.